What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I was thinking today we would put something kind of fun together. You know, I'm a big EDC guy. I actually have stuff in my pockets all the time to get stuff done, whether that be, you know, here at the office doing work, out walking the dogs, out doing whatever I need to do. Now, obviously, you know, a pocket knife is going to be in the pocket, so we'll talk about that. But there's a bunch of other kind of little things that I like to have around. In fact, I have a backpack with a bunch of stuff in it. This isn't everything in the backpack, but this is just kind of some basic pocket stuff that I use on a daily basis, and some stuff that I think would be good options too. Okay, so I'm going to give you, I don't know if you can see in the shot here, but there's kind of two of everything. So there's going to be kind of a more budget-friendly version that is still very good, and then also kind of a more premium version if you're more into a collector phase, or if it's something that you want to get as a gift for somebody else. I'll leave a link to everything here below. I think I can have links for all of this stuff. And I should say, everything you see here is well used. This is not stuff that we like just bought for a video, but this is stuff that we use every day. It is in and out of the pocket constantly. Some of this stuff is Leslie's, some of this stuff is mine, but it'll just give you an idea. And yeah, so let's just jump straight into it, shall we? All right, first things first, let's talk multi-tools. I think that a multi-tool is an excellent example, or an excellent thing to have in your pocket. And these are two good examples of multi-tools. And I'll show you how I use these every day and how I carry them around here in a little bit. The more budget version first, honestly, is the one I use the most. This is the SOG Power Pint. It's got all your normal little stuff in it, right? So it's got, let's see if we just pull all the stuff out here. We've got a saw, we've got a bottle lifter, you know, a cap lifter, we've got scissors, we've got a Phillips screwdriver, we've got a flathead screwdriver, we've got, let's see, on the other side, we've got a file, we've got a belt cutter, flathead screwdriver, an awl, and of course a knife blade there. Now it's obviously a pretty light duty knife blade, so I carry a regular pocket knife, but the rest of this stuff is pretty cool because a lot of times you don't need like huge amounts of muscle to get stuff done. A lot of times you just need a little tweak, something's a little loose and you just gotta give it a grab, or you know, you gotta clip a wire, or you gotta do something. And this thing is just so small. And it's really reasonably priced. I think they come in black and in this kind of natural stainless look thing too. And I really like it. It's got these gear drives, so the leverage is actually really good with it. And it folds up nice and small. It's got a belt clip on it. I'll show you when we get into my pocket organizer how I carry this in a minute. But yeah, this is a super cool deal. And then if I need something a little heavier, this is the Leatherman Signal. Oftentimes this will be in the van, or this actually lives in my backpack. This has got a fire starter. This has got a saw. This has got a more full-size, you know, a full-size nail clipper, wire cutter here, and needle nose. It's got replaceable blades on the wire cutter, which is pretty cool. It's got a hammer end down here and a bottle opener and a carabiner to carry it, which I don't typically use. It's got a ceramic, it's got a ferro rod for fire starting, which you could use the back of the saw blade for. And it's got a knife sharpener here as well. It has a full size. So if we look at this one, this is actually like a full size serrated slash straight, you know, non-serrated edge knife, which is really cool. And then the other thing about this is this actually has, let me see if I can pull these out for you. This has Leatherman's bit holder in it. So they have these whole flat bit deals, and I like them because even though it's flat, it's a full-size Phillips screwdriver. You can see I've used it a bunch. And then this is a flathead also, and they're really strong. They work really well, and you can get an adapter to put an actual like ratchet driver on here too. They make, I don't have one, but it's nice. These are really, really nice. So the Leatherman stuff obviously is a little bit more of a premium price, but they are really, really good. I've had this for probably 4 years or so. It lived in the motorhome for a long time. Now it lives in my backpack, and I use it probably weekly, at least weekly. This thing comes out of my backpack for something or other, typically to tighten up loose stuff. Honestly, is the thing I use it for the most. All right, flashlights. I'm a big Olight fan. So this is the new Olight Arcfeld Ultra. This has a single button, and it's got a flashlight, it's got a laser, and it's got a black light in it, which is actually helpful because, you know, if your dog has a mess or something, you can find where it was. Well, you know, like I have used it. I have a puppy, so no lie. This is some sort of heavy duty anodizing that is really, really good. I've had this in and out of my pocket a bunch, and you can't even tell. Like, there's no scratches on it or anything. I've got the other version of this, the older version of this, and it's fantastic too. But I wanted to try the new one, and I have to say, I really like it. The battery life is really good. It's got this magnetic charger, USB charger, and yeah, the battery life's really good. What I do like about it too is if you see right here, those green lights light up, and that tells you how much battery life you have left, so you won't be surprised by that, which is pretty cool. And then this is, I think this one's a little cheaper, and they actually make a cheaper version of this as well. So this is the Baton 3. I also have the smaller Baton. It's only about this big. And this is another one that I really like. This has the same kind of features. It doesn't have a laser and stuff. It's just a flashlight. But when you turn it on, the light in here tells you how much battery you have left, and then it has that USB charger on the bottom. And one of the things I guess I don't want to also forget is you see how it has this double folded pocket clip. So you have your normal pocket clip, but you also have a pocket clip that goes the other way. So what that is for is you can, you know, put this one on your pocket, but then you can also put this one on like the bill of your hat or something. So like I've used this like when I was in the motorhome a lot, you know, setting up camp or whatever, and you slide this onto the bill of your cap, and then you have a headlight. And then you can pop that back in your pocket. The old Arcfeld, the normal old Arcfeld, did not have that reverse pocket clip on it. So the new one does, and I am grateful for it. I really, really like the fact that I can clip that onto my hat, and I can use that. And then both of these are also dimmable to a few different brightness settings, so you can optimize battery life also. But the other thing too is a lot of times you don't need a flashlight to be as bright as you think. You don't need the brightest flashlight in the world. Sometimes you do, so it's nice to have it. But a lot of times, you know, if you're just trying to find where a key goes in a lock or something, if you put a big light on it, you're going to blind yourself. So it's nice to have adjustable brightness and dimness. Typically I default to the dimmest setting on here so that I don't initially blind myself when I'm doing something out at night. These are used constantly. Flashlights are used constantly, all the time. Probably multiple times a day this little guy comes out of my pocket, and I like it because it's flat too, so it rides in your pocket nice and flat. Okay, we're going to talk writing, but we're going to talk about it in a couple of different respects. I'm going to give you a couple of different options. If you are not, I'm a fountain pen guy. I love fountain pens. However, not everybody likes fountain pens. Some people don't want to deal with ink. Some people don't want to deal with what they feel is unreliability. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So I'm going to give you two quality and two different price points ballpoint / rollerball pens that you can use, that you can get your hands on. This is the Fisher Space Pen. It's a click, you push the knock here, and then there's a side button right there, and that unclicks it. This pen writes reliably. It has a pressurized cartridge. This particular one is the astronaut version that allegedly they took to space. It writes upside down. It writes in weightlessness. So if you're ever in space, you can use it. It's really reliable. It works really, really well. It writes nicely. And it's just a nice feel. They have a couple different sizes. Leslie has like a little one that you take the cap off and it makes the pen longer. But sometimes you have to have a ballpoint. And honestly, even though I'm a fountain pen guy, I carry a ballpoint with me all the time, because sometimes if somebody says, hey, can I borrow your pen? I'm not going to hand them, some fancy fountain pen. I'm going to hand them this because this is what they're used to writing with. So a lot of times I'll have a nice, plus it'll write on receipts better. And, there's certain papers and stuff you have to have a ballpoint around for. So this is a really cool, these come in a bunch of different price points, but this is a pretty moderate one, and it gives you a pretty high quality writing experience. Now, this to me is where I like to go with a ballpoint. This actually has a Pilot G2 refill in it, and what you can't see is that the machining is so high quality here that the seam is right there, but you can't tell. This is a tactile turn bolt action pen. The reason I like bolt action pens is because if you have a regular knock like this and you have this clipped on your pocket, you can accidentally deploy the pen in your pocket and ink up your pocket. If you have a bolt action pen, it's almost impossible to accidentally deploy the pen in your pocket. These come in a couple of different sizes. They're a little more expensive than these, but they come in couple different sizes and materials. I have a full size one in copper, and then I have this kind of half size pocket size one in titanium, and I really, really like this pen. This one lives in my backpack also. So I have a couple of these that live in a couple of different backpacks and bags and stuff, so that I always have a writing implement with me. Like I said, I default to the bolt because it doesn't click and deploy in my pocket accidentally or in my gear, even though for some of you, you may gravitate more towards a regular click pen. So there you go. There's a couple of options for writing on the ballpoint side. Now on the fountain pen side, I'll give you kind of two extremes of the same brand. This is the Lamy Safari fountain pen. It's made out of plastic. It is, I don't want to say indestructible, but it is honestly, for $30 or whatever, the standard in just an excellent writing experience. You can put a regular cartridge in there if you don't want to deal with bottled inks. Everybody sells, a lot of people sell Lamy based cartridges that you can put in there, and Lamy sells them obviously, so you don't have to worry about inking up a pen. You just stick the thing in there and write with it like a normal pen. It's pretty indestructible. It's just a pop cap. It writes really well. This is actually the first fountain pen I ever bought, and I still use it a lot. I have a lot of really nice fountain pens, but I still use this quite a bit. This is my backpack fountain pen because it can't really get scratched up. It doesn't really get hurt at all. And it works pretty freaking awesome as an EDC fountain pen. Now, the other one is kind of at the other extreme of the Lamy price range. Not the extreme of the price range, but as far as kind of legendary quality, this actually has a 14 karat gold nib. This is the Lamy 2000. This pen is not cheap. However, this is one of those, if you have this pen, you may not ever have to buy another pen. These have been out since 1965. They have not been redesigned. They are just a classic fountain pen. They write really well. This nib is absolutely unbelievably incredible. It's probably one of the best fountain pen nibs in the business. It's better than many fountain pens that cost 2 to 3 times as much. It's made out of a material called Macrolon, which is a type of plastic. And again, this is another pen that you could probably just use in a backpack. I have a little daily carrier that I carry this in, and I use this pen every day. So these are a couple of different options for your fountain pen. Right, now let's get into cutting implements. And I use the term cutting implements because we're going to talk about utility knives first. This little guy right here, for those of you that watch my other channel, you'll be familiar with this knife. I was turned on to this knife. In fact, I was given this knife by Matt at Texas Toast Guitars. And this little guy is invaluable to your EDC. The reason is it is not expensive. It has a cap lifter, a pry bar. It has a really good working mechanism here where a X-Acto blade, a regular X-Acto blade lives, and you can take it out and replace it. In fact, both of these items right here are replaceable blades with stuff that you can just get at the hardware store. But let me tell you, the utility of this, let's just say that I used to use this knife every day, and my daughter Brianna has stolen it from me, and she uses it almost every day. This is one of the most used utility knives in the house. They are fantastic. I can't remember what it's called, the Gerber something pry something. Anyway, it's absolutely awesome. It's not expensive, and this is one that I think you should probably buy 4 or 5 and put in every junk drawer in your house and on every workbench and on every little spot where you can just have something to grab. Absolutely cool. Totally love this thing. And yeah, you can see it is very well used. All right, on the more premium side, however, I don't know that it's necessarily more premium. It's just a little different. Well, it is more premium because it's made out of titanium. This is the Big Idea Designs TPT slide. And basically, you can see already that it's just a razor blade holder. A regular razor blade goes in there. When you take the blade out, you can then use this area as a wrench. You can, with the blade in, use this area as a bottle opener. We've got a 1/4 inch driver in the edge on the inside here. And we've got a pry bar / flat screwdriver over here. This is a really cool little dude that you can just live in your pocket. You can see obviously this has been used a bunch too. This blade needs to be replaced at this point, but this knife gets used a lot. And yeah, it's just a good little utility knife. Now it's more expensive than this one just because you know, this is a small batch titanium, you know, blah 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 blah. It's just different. This company is based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, I think. And yeah, it's good. I got a bunch of their stuff actually. I've got a couple of their pens. They make really neat stuff. You know, smaller maker kind of stuff, but really cool deal. I'll leave a link to this also. I think you can't go wrong with either of these. But dollar for dollar, this thing's pretty dang good, this Gerber. And of course, we have to talk about some kind of EDC pocket knife. Now, I have probably 100 pocket knives, and we could go from Recieves, Benza, to Spyderco, to Benchmade, all over the place with brands. But I want to give you a couple of examples of pocket knives here that these might be, as far as a basic pocket knife, 2 of the most used knives in our home. So one is mine, one is Leslie's. They're a little bit different in price point too, which is why I wanted to bring them up as well. This is Leslie's CJRB Pyrite. This is a button lock knife, so you can flip it open with your thumb, and then there's a button that unlocks it to close it. This is, I think this is some kind of, I think it's RPM 9 steel, which is like a spray form powder steel. Now, obviously, you might not be into black and rose gold, but Leslie really loves black and rose gold, so she has a bunch of black and rose gold stuff. And so she picked this. It also comes in a bunch of different blade shapes. So you can have this Bowie blade, you can have a drop point blade, you can have a Warncliffe blade, you can have a cleaver blade. There's all kinds of different blade shapes that this model of knife, the CJRB Pyrite, comes in. The Pyrite also comes in an ultralight that is some sort of injected molded plastic instead of aluminum, so you get a much more lighter weight knife. So it just kind of depends what you want to do. So you can pick your color, you can pick your materials, you can pick your blade shape, and still stay, you know, $50 and under. Like they're just super, super reasonable. The edge that comes with from the factory is bonkers. I have actually not had to touch this knife up at all. This has actually come really, and it's stayed really sharp. She uses this. This is her kind of her desk knife. So she'll sit this on her desk like that, and she'll use it to open mail. She'll use it to open packages. She'll use it to, you know, cut, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. She just uses it a lot. And you can see that even with the coating on the blade, hasn't even had any marks. There's no tape stuck to it. It cleans up really nice. And yeah, it's really cool. I think these are stainless steel handles. So the knife's got a little heft to it, feels nice and quality. There's no wiggle. And so even for the money, as they say, this is actually a really good pocket knife. Now, if you want to go super premium with your pocket knife, a lot of folks would send you straight to a Benchmade bug out. I have a couple Benchmade bug outs. Leslie has a Benchmade bug out or two. But you know, this knife right here, this is the Hogue Deca. This is, now this particular one is kind of one of the higher end ones because it has this Ultim material for the scales, but they come in a bunch of different materials. G10, I think there's some injection molded plastic. I think there's some other stuff too. They come in a couple of different blade shapes, like a Warncliffe blade, but I'm a drop point / clip point guy. The reason I like this instead of a Benchmade is because it's the same basic concept as a Benchmade. It's not quite as light. It might be a 1/4 of an ounce lighter or heavier, but it's got a MagnaCut blade as opposed to the S30V, which in a lot of circles, people would say that this is a better blade steel. It is made in the United States. It feels more solid, even with the injection molded plastic handles or the Ultim handles. It does not flex as much. And there's a couple of different blade shapes available for this knife as opposed to the Benchmade bug out, which is not. And this knife is substantially cheaper than that knife. Still made in the United States, still high quality, and to me, higher quality materials of construction. So this is where I would go. Now, I love my bug outs. I still do have them, and I love them, and I use them. But if I was going to recommend you a one and done, do it all pocket knife for your EDC, it'd be this guy right here, the Hogue Deca. That might change next year, but right now, this is it. Now, a couple of things I want to show you regarding leather goods. So the first thing, I got this off of Amazon and I really like this. So this can be used for, let's say, a pocket knife goes in here, and let's say your pen goes in here, or if you're not a fountain pen guy, actually, I think when I was using this regularly, I was putting this pen in here, and it's a little pocket organizer so stuff doesn't like bang around in your pocket. Really super cool dude. The other thing is, I'll leave a link to this. This company is Galen Leatherworks. They're made in Turkey by a family. It's not like a big factory. It's just a few folks, family. And so this is an EDC wallet. So a lot of times, I have another fountain pen that I use for this, but we'll just put this ballpoint in here. So this guy will go in there, and then we'll take a small pocket knife. A lot of times my Benchmade mini bug out will live in here. And then we will take our little SOG power pint, and we'll put a little bit of cash over here and some credit cards, and we'll zip this guy up, and that guy will be my wallet that will live in my bag. I don't carry it usually in my pocket, but a lot of times it'll be in my backpack or something like that. And then the other thing that I carry all the time is this is my daily planner. So this is a Galen leather piece on the outside, and inside I have a Hobonichi Techo planner. So this is where I plan all of my videos. This is where I do I still use a paper planner every day. In fact, you know, of course, we're all the way in December now, so it's almost done. So I've got my 2025 one is ready. And actually, I guess I didn't talk about this pen, but this is the Big Idea Design fountain pen. And it's fantastic too. This pen's really neat. This pen's not cheap. I think it's like 250 bucks, but it's really cool because it has a titanium fountain pen nib, but it also comes with a ballpoint section that you can swap out. So if you want to experiment with both, this is a really neat fountain pen, and I use it every day because I put an extra fine nib on here so I can write on this tiny like dot grids that I use for this planner. And so this guy lives right in here at all times, and that is the planner that I take with me. Typically these two things live in my backpack. So there's a couple of other little EDC things that we use. So there you go. There's some ideas for you or for a gift for somebody else. I'll leave links to everything in the description. I think I have links for all of it. And like I said, this is not stuff we just bought for a video, but this is stuff that we use every day. I actually picked from stuff that we've had for more than a little while that I know that is just super useful. Sometimes this EDC stuff, you know, you'll buy it and you'll use it a couple times and you just be like, whatever. But this is all stuff that literally, I mean, it's part of daily life around here. So thanks for hanging out. Do me a favor and use the links in the description. They do help out the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to, but I appreciate it when you do. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.